It is time for PetSylvania with Dr. Bob Esplin. Dr. Bob guides you through the latest veterinary techniques and procedures to keep your pets in the best of health. PetSylvania is brought to you by Elanco, maker of Trifexis and Comfortus. With your ears up and tails wagging, here is Dr. Bob.
Good morning, pet lovers. This is Dr. Bob from Sylvania Vet. I would like to thank Elanco, makers of Trifexis and Comfortus, and other fine pet pharmaceuticals for sponsoring PetSylvania. Jake wants to know, what can I give my dog if he injures his leg? Turns out Jake was at the lake and his dog was being too active and came up lame, and he wanted to know what could he give. He wasn't anywhere near a drugstore. In a one-time basis, you can give your dog an aspirin. Aspirin, of all the things that are on the shelf at the drugstore, is the safest, but it's not truly safe for long-term use. So the dose of aspirin is one baby aspirin per 10 pounds of body weight, given one time to get the dog through that pain period until you can get him in to see the vet. The problem with aspirin is that it's of the four things that it does, only one of them is goods. The good thing is it's a great painkiller and anti-inflammatory, but the bad things are even as little as one dose can set a dog up to develop ulcers in their stomach. It also decreases their ability to clot blood, and so as little as 3 or 4 doses, and they may, if they cut themselves, they may bleed excessively because it makes the platelets too slippery. This is the reason why people take a baby aspirin regularly to help deal with stroke. And then the final thing it does, and it's sort of disingenuous, is that even though it's a good anti-inflammatory, it's chondrodestructive, and it actually worsens the arthritis as it provides relief from the arthritis. So that leads us to all the other things that are on the shelves in the drugstore: ibuprofen and Aleve and Tylenol, and all those products are no-nos. They all have very serious potential side effects in the dog, from Aleve, which is naproxen, causing severe gastric ulceration, to Advil, can damage the kidneys, to Tylenol that can do damage to the liver. So there is no really good long-term product for safe use out of the drugstore shelf. So Jake, I hope that helps you. We had a really interesting case this week. For me, it just typified, the capability that we have at Sylvania Vet. And so I'm going to brag a little bit and tell you about this case. It's KJ, a Belgian Malinois, 8 years old. Came in with the brand new client, never met them before. Came in with statement of just not doing right. He doesn't have any energy. He isn't eating. He seems uncomfortable. He's had a bad injury to his back leg years ago, and we think that's why he's not feeling well. Doing a lot of panting. He just really seems out of sorts. So we started examining the dog, and I just didn't feel like there was enough pain in the back end to be causing what was going on. So it was decided that we would do some lab work. So this was about 10 o'clock in the morning. By 11, we had our lab work up, and we noticed that KJ was quite anemic. We scheduled him for an ultrasound, and we ultrasounded him, found that he had a mass in his spleen, and there was free blood in the abdomen, and that he was going to need emergency surgery. We finished our workup, blood typed him, got blood ready in case he needed a transfusion, and by 2 o'clock we were in surgery. I was in surgery with him. I removed his spleen, cleaned out 1,100 milliliters of blood. That's more than a quart of free blood in the abdomen. And I was done by 3. So literally in 5 hours, we took this dog from having never met him to solving a truly major problem. Now we have to wait and get the pathology back to find out how serious that tumor was. But we sent him home the next day, and he was doing great. So, I mean, it's really, he was there with our overnight staff, getting that overnight care, that pain management that dogs, when they've had surgical procedures, all need. That was the case of KJ, and I was really proud of how my team pulled together. We had 3 three doctors doing different things at different times. I don't do the ultrasound, so Dr. Tay did the ultrasound, and so that everybody was able to pull together. My technicians were in there monitoring him during surgery. It went great. Very happy client. It's always good to send home a success story. It's not unusual for us to get phone call or somebody to say in the exam room, I think my dog has worms because he's scooting. All right, and I think we've all heard that. And the reality is that dogs rarely scoot because they have worms. Some of this old wives' tale's gotten carried over from horses who do rub their rear ends because they have pinworms, and humans get pinworms as well, and that can cause the human to have an itchy bottom. But dogs don't get pinworms, and so it's rare that worms cause them to scoot. What really causes them to scoot is one of two things. The most common thing is anal sacs that are full and impacted or infected, and they scoot along because it's the only way they have of itching. And then the other reason is that they might have a food allergy. And so when we hear that, the first thing we do is we check those anal sacs. Anal sacs periodically need to be emptied out because by squeezing them. The groomer, if you have a dog that gets regularly groomed, should be doing that procedure as well. So the reason why dogs scoot is almost never worms. On the other hand, it's always a good idea to do a stool check on a dog at least once a year. We actually recommend it twice a year because we live in an area where hookworm and whipworm, two intestinal parasites that dogs can get, are really significant. So one of the nice advantages of using Trifexis for your flea and your heartworm preventive is it also helps prevent internal parasites by using the interceptor component of the Trifexis to treat for not therapeutically, but prophylactically, preventively treat roundworms, hookworms, and whipworms. So in this part of the country where hookworms and whipworms are significant problems, that's a really great side effect and benefit of using Trifexis. So I know I'm a big promoter of Trifexis. They're one of my sponsors. So what else would we expect? I also believe in the company and I believe in the product quite a bit. So it's about time to take a little break here. We'll be back on the other side pretty quickly. Thanks. I'm back, and I'm raring to go, and I just thought I'd give you a couple of phone numbers and an address here. Sylvania Vet is at 4801 Holland, Sylvania at Haroon, just down the road from Flower Hospital. Our phone number is 419-885-4421, and our website address, which I think you'll find extremely interesting and informative, is www.sylvaniavet.com. One of the features on our website is a terrific library of information where you can get accurate information on any condition or almost any condition that your pet might have been diagnosed with or that you're worried about. Internet information, when not coming from a direct veterinary source, is highly questionable and usually involves just opinion and isn't fact-based. Fact-based information is the best thing. One of the really unique features that I want to talk with you about at Sylvania Vet is something that I think we all wish that we all had with every one of our professionals, and that is the ability to listen and the willingness to listen to what the pet's owner, the client, has to say about their pet, because they know the pet well. You live with them every day, and you know when they're just not right. Just like KJ that I talked about earlier, they knew that something wasn't right. And so not only then do I have to listen and ask questions, those questions, that history, very important. You can't do it in a couple of quick minutes, and so you need need that time, and we devote that time. Our record keeping is extraordinary so that we can have continuity between our second doctor, our 7 doctors, and that's all very important, and it's an integral part of our being what's considered the best veterinarian in the area, and being a member of the American Animal Hospital Association, who requires really exquisite record keeping so that there's continuity, so that somebody else could read my record and really know what my thinking is and know where I wanted to go with the case. And so we're required to put in comments about suspected conditions. What are we looking for? How are we going to attack that problem? And so the key, one of the things that we talk about an awful lot with cats, and we've been emphasizing a lot about dogs here the first few sessions, is I want to talk a little bit about cat litter. Now there's an exotic subject, and and one of the things that we have to deal with is, how does a company put dirt in a bag and sell it for a lot of money, and do that by enhancing it in ways that it makes it sound great to us? Advanced odor control, new deodorants, contains baking soda, contains chlorophyll, all these things that make it sound like that's stuff that would be good in my house, because God, I hate the smell of a litter box. And there's no one that does like the smell of a litter box, don't get me wrong. But the key is that not one of these companies that makes litter has ever sat down with a veterinary behavioralist and discussed with them, if I make this product, what do you think the cat's reaction to that product might be? And interestingly enough, there's a lot of negative reaction in the cat world to most of the litters that we throw out in their box. And then we cover the box, so now it's like, and clean it only occasionally. So now it's like going into a dirty porta potty. There's not many of us that are willing to do that unless it's just the absolute last resort. And many cats feel the same way. The best way to manage cat odor in the litter box is cleanliness. You use a good clumping litter, and in my opinion, the best one on the market is a product called Everclean. It's the granddaddy of clumping litters, and it really solves a lot of problems. You scoop it every time you see a mess, a minimum of once a day. You dump it, depending on the number of cats you have and the level of dirtiness, you dump it every week or every 10 days. If you dump the litter and you get a smell of urine, or you get a smell of feces, or if litter is stuck to the bottom of the box, it is too dirty. Cats smell 10 times better than we do. And so what's subtle or not even perceptible to us is overpowering. We put perfumes in the litter sometimes. And my analogy to that is always like old Aunt Tilly with her lilac cologne that she would put on. And it's strong enough that it brings tears to your eyes and causes you to sneeze. That's kind of what it's like for the cat. Well, how does the cat deal with that if their litter box is too dirty, or they don't like the smell of the litter, or it smells like a pine tree and they've been strictly indoor cats, so they don't know what they're getting? It's a small space. Cats in the wild, they have about 10,000 square feet that they can go find a place to potty. So what do cats do? Well, they oftentimes go outside the litter box. If we're lucky, it's right next to it on the hard surface floor. But if we're really unlucky, it's in the laundry basket, or it's in the corner of the dining room where we don't go very often, because they're looking for a place that they can go and have some privacy, feel secure, and then they will and not have to go where it smells real bad. If I can tell you anything, provide extra litter boxes. The rule of thumb is 1 box per cat in the house plus 1 extra. You don't want to line them up like those porta potties down at portside at events. You want to scatter them around so that the kitty doesn't have to schlep from second floor to the basement to get to their litter box. Don't place it next to the washing machine or the furnace, because when those suckers kick on gone into spin cycle or the blower goes on, it might frighten the cat, and now they don't want to go back to their litter box. So we need to accommodate to their needs. We've talked a little bit about trifexis, but if your dog is already on a heartworm product like HeartGuard Plus, something of that nature, then the way you would provide flea control, if you didn't feel like you didn't want to use Frontline as a topical, you don't like it, you don't want your kids rubbing on it, you don't want it on your pet, then the product is Comfortis, which is a once-a-month pill made by Elanco. It's the flea control portion of Trifexis. It comes as a standalone tablet. It's a great product. Both Trifexis and Comfortis come with rebates. If you buy 6 of either of these pills, you'll get a $10 rebate. And if you buy 12 of those pills at one time, you'll get a $20 rebate from the company. So that helps bring the cost down. And those kinds of rebates aren't available if you're trying to buy those products online or through a big box store or anything like that. Time is just flying here for this visit. Come back and do a little closure. It's time to sign off. It's just hard to believe that a half an hour has passed so quickly. Again, I'd like to thank Elanco for their sponsorship. Give serious consideration to the use of Trifexis or Comfortis as your pet's needs develop with flea prevention or flea treatment. A couple of events to highlight for you that are coming. We're having an adopt-a-thon with at least one of our puppies is still available, and will hopefully maybe be adopted by the 22nd. If not, he'll be there. So the adopt-a-thon at Sylvania Vet, 4801 Holland, Sylvania, will be Sunday, July 22nd from noon till 3 o'clock. Come on in, and it'll be great. We'll have rescues there with animals. Friday and Saturday, Centennial is the Pizza Palooza, sponsored by the Sylvania Area Chamber. There's about 8 local pizza emporiums that are going to be there with their product. There's going to be 8 different bands playing over the 2 days. There will be some pizza judging. We have tickets at Sylvania Vet, $5 for adults, $3 for kids 6 to 12, and kids under 6 are free. The key for you is to remember Sylvania Vet, a 24/7 pet care destination, 4801 North Holland, Sylvania at Haroon, 419-885-4421. Our website is www.sylvaniavet.com. As I close, I want you to know that there's only one greatest pet, and it lives in your home. Thank you.
You have been listening to PetSylvania with Dr. Bob Esplin on WSYLradio.com. PetSylvania is brought to you by Elanco, maker of Trifexis and Comfortis. Tune in every Saturday at 10 a.m. as Dr. Bob explains the latest in veterinary care and answers your questions. You can email your pet questions to requests@WSYLradio.com, and Dr. Bob will answer them on a future show.
Sylvania Vet, 4801 Holland, Sylvania at Haroon is not your average veterinary practice, but your pet care destination. Our 24-hour, 7-day-per-week commitment is unique to the region. One of our highly trained technicians and an assistant is always in the building whenever you call, while at the same time providing care to our patients and boarding guests. And one of our 7 doctors is always on call for emergencies. Pets are never alone at Sylvania Vet. Our modern 16,000 square foot facility was designed with the comfort and safety of your pet in mind. In addition to all standard and emergency veterinary services, Sylvania Vet offers grooming, doggy daycare, obedience classes, physical rehab, and hydrotherapy, and there is a well-stocked retail area. Always on the cutting edge, Sylvania Vet has been voted by readers of Toledo City Paper and Parent News Best Vet for 6 consecutive years. Call 419-885-4421 for all your veterinary needs, or on the web at sylvaniavet.com. 419-885-4421.